I was looking at the Channing Crowder and the Russell Wilson situation again, because this dude just keep talking about Russell, man. And it's like, this is a multifaceted issue, and I'm gonna break it down because I like everybody's reaction that I saw so far, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this topic. Like, first of all, Channing is talking about how another man is lame by literally taking care of his responsibilities with his children, with his wife, not being in trouble, being like just a real clean cut dude. That's really what it is. And first off, Shannon's been talking about another man for a couple years. That's not real mannish behavior. Second, there's nothing wrong being a clean cut dude. We're gonna get to the Russell situation later. But I think this exposes the attitude that is been plaguing the black community for a long time. And I saw a couple reaction videos that really pinpointed this. Channing is representing the toxic projection of what a black man is supposed to be. Because if you're calling a dude who's clean cut and handling certain responsibilities lame, that's not only saying there's a confusion in your mind that has a stronghold, but it's also saying that in some way, shape, or form, you feel like you're lacking that type of responsibility, type of character. Because even growing up, I was more of the clean cut dude, always had my hair cut, never let myself go crazy. I turned in, my assignments, never got in trouble, yes or no, sir. I was picked on for that type of stuff, but it was from the dudes that had no backing at home. They had an unstable environment. They were at least physically abused, and they couldn't control their emotions, and they felt like they had to be a man of being overly violent and also try to look cool and copy other men instead of being their own person. And they were fake hood dudes who would sell drugs out of their mama's house or their grandmama's house. It's like, all right, how are you making $10K a week, but you still sleep in your grandma's basement? And I look at Channing Crowder. He went to a great high school, or he went to a great, not only high school, he went to a great, I forget, like elementary and middle school, in Georgia. It's like 97 of the people graduated. It's like, oh my God, it's like in middle school. How you graduate? And it's just insane. And then he had no tattoos growing up. I never seen him with a lineup. He was never like, you never could tell if he was from the inner city or whatnot, but now he's tatted up, he got the hair long, everything, and he still dressed kind of young with the tight pants, baggy shirt, and I got it, that is a young dude aesthetic. But all these grown black men are trying to be cool, and cool in most of the black community is street. And it shouldn't be the case. We're the only group of people who promote toxic outliers as the cultural norm. So we rather follow the image of thugs and people who aren't handling their responsibilities, who can't even take care of the families that they create, and who constantly get in trouble and can't even control their emotions. That's why they have to pull out, a firearm on people when they get in disagreement or someone step on their shoes. That's like childish and super egotistical behavior. Like, you're still a child, but you're in a man's body. We follow those people. We own a group of people that do that. And him saying what he's saying and just, hating on another grown man for no reason, that, because he talked about how he has mousse in his hair and all this other stuff. I was like, bro, come on, dog. Like, y'all literally both mixed. Y'all grew up pretty similar, but all of a sudden you went to hit on him. Okay. Like, that's not, you ain't a man, bro. You a punk for that. Like, doesn't make sense. Russell, he's been MVP, I believe. He's a Super Bowl champion. He got his own stuff. But you got a podcast. Relax. Like, if we really look at the logistics, like, I want to put that in perspective, guys. But on the other hand of that, there is, now, if Channing was calling Russell lame for how certain behaviors are going on in, like, the relationship between him and Cierra, there's some debate, but that's never the case for the most part. But on the other hand, so we got that going on. We promote, all these grown men want to be cool. They're not growing up. That's what we're seeing on Channing's side. But on the other side, that I don't think people really been looking at for years, Russell Wilson, he is a stand-up guy, clean cut, all this, Christian dude. He married Cierra. Cierra is, you know, everybody knows her in the music industry, and she's never been the most modest, never been the most wholesome person in the limelight. And, you know, she has a kid by Future. Future's the most, you know, one of the most toxic dudes in mainstream media. And she's talked about how she wouldn't even get with, you know, Russell if she was in Atlanta. It's like, okay, that's like almost a mental illness, because you, again, it's showing she would rather take the instability and the toxic characteristics and low character of a street dude because he looked cool. And she'd been brainwashed like everybody else to believe that's desirable. She'd rather stay in chaos. So that's telling you something right there. But then on the other flip side, you got Russell, who is not that, but he has to take care of the repercussions, such as the child, which he's doing a great job from what everybody can see, and take care of the woman of what she went through with that and her dating history and just whatever else coming up. But the thing with Cierra and the Russell situation, Cierra is still dancing and putting out highly sexual stuff ever since she got married. Even earlier this year, she put out a song called Ecstasy, and I just looked it up today. I listened to the first 10 seconds, and I was like, oh no. And then I was like watching the video at the same time. She was fully bent over in arch in see-through leggings, as well as she was in see-through leggings with her cheeks out in the full shot. So I'm like, how can you be married with kids, knowing that they're going to see that, but still feel the need to do all that? And my biggest thing is, y'all claim to be Christians. And with Cierra, you claim to be under the, not only the authority of God, but in union with a Christian man. That's embarrassing to him. So in a sense, Russell looks lame because his wife is doing stuff like that. Because just think about it. Your local church pastor, no matter whether you believe somebody look good or not, just imagine their first lady doing that. Posing, dancing, talking like a stripper. Talking like they're not supposed to be talking. But then he's trying to do his thing as a preacher or just a Christian man. You know, just, or a principal or lawyer. Like, just any upstanding person in a leadership position amongst people. Just imagine their wife doing stuff like that. And they got kids. So their kids are going to find that. And I can hear all the people now say, oh, well, was she talking about her husband and with those songs? I'm like, okay. But why is she putting herself in that position to be lusted after by other men? That don't make sense. Especially being a Christian. We dress and present ourselves modest so we don't give people who are struggling with sin, or just in general to slip up into sin just with the thought. We don't do that. And Russell need to get that together. Cierra need to get that together. Like, and people be like, oh, it's for the money. Why is money being the God? Why is money God? Why is money over God and what God say? So it shows this whole situation, Channing and the Russell situation, shows how toxic the desires of the world are, but especially in the black community. Guys, we can't be giving excuse to people just because they look good, or their music makes us feel good, or because they have money. And we got to get out of the toxic idea that just because you ain't a street dude doesn't mean you a real man, or mean you ain't cool. Who cares about being cool when my life is stable, the bills are paid, nobody's going to jail, and people are still alive? I don't have to worry about, why would I worry about being cool when when the stuff that has to deal with being cool deals with breaking the law and defaming my family, my name, my brand, and most importantly, God. I'm done. Being cool is not selling poison to people. Being cool is not toting a gun all the time because I'm afraid that I might get got. Being cool is not making a whole bunch of babies and not taking care of them to the fullest. It's like, yes, they get their mothers might get paid for a second to take care of them, but they still need their father to be an example of what stability look like, and to show them how to act through stuff. You can't be a population prophet and expect instability to be everywhere because you never attached to a household. You got all these broken households, man. You're irresponsible. So, like, and you're 40 something years old, trying to look like these street cats in the music videos that are like 20. Come on, man. But yeah, we got it. Black folks, our definition of cool is wrong, and we too worried about being cool, and that's wrong. And we have the wrong value system, and it's literally just concentrated in the Russell Wilson and Channing Crowder, whatever his name is, situation. And in some aspects, they're both lame, but Channing definitely lame.